Hello everyone, it's Amy and welcome back for week 23 of budget crafting. Today we are going to make butterflies. I'm going to show you how to make, these are origami butterflies, these are hand cut butterflies, what I call a teardrop butterfly. These are just cut out butterflies and flower butterflies. So we're going to do these today so that, everybody always wants to use a butterfly in their kit and sometimes, or in their projects, and sometimes they just don't have any. So we're gonna set these aside and we're gonna make some just like those. We'll start with the origami butterfly. Slide that up there. And we'll put these here. These are really, really easy. All you need is a square. So I have a 6x6 here. I normally don't make them this large, but I think it will be easier for you to see. So with the origami butterflies, what you're going to do is you are going to put, you want the side that you want on the outside of your butterfly to show when you fold it. So we're going to fold it corner to corner and make sure that this is what we want our butterfly to look like. Now you do want to make sure that you try and get that really well folded, and you can always trim it just a little bit if you need to. I usually do that at the end, but okay, so corner to corner. Okay, we're going to open it back up again and do the same thing to the other two corners. Corner to corner. And fold that. You want to make sure that your folds are nice and creased folds. So let's do both of those. So now this is what you have. We have corner to corner and corner to corner. It looks like that. Now we are going to fold it the opposite way so that the inside of our butterfly shows, or the side we don't want to show, and we are going to do edge to edge. Fold it in half this way. And again, give it a really good crease. And then we're going to open it up and fold it edge to edge the other way. So basically you folded it in half on a diagonal twice, and you fold it in half horizontally twice. And get your lines straight as possible. This is cardstock, and I do not normally do this with cardstock, but I noticed I went to look for a 6x6 paper, and all my 6x6s were cardstock. So now you have this. Okay, what you're going to do is you're going to kind of poke your thumb into the middle there to make it flip the other way so that the point is pointing up on your colored side. And then if you look at this, you can see that there's a triangle right here, and it's kind of bent in right here. We're just going, and there's a triangle on the back. We're going to take those two triangles and just bring them together so that we have this shape here. And again, really give it a good press. Now, sometimes if I have a much lighter paper, at this point I kind of edge my the edges here, but that's totally up to you. Sometimes I do it at the end. So, okay, so now we've got this, and we are going to take it so the point is pointed down, and we are going to take just the top of this side. We're going to fold it from the middle. And you can, this is really a choice. You don't have an exact spot to fold it to down here, but you want this point to stick out past the bottom, but you don't really want it to line up with the center at the bottom. So we're going to fold it from the center here on a bit of an angle and fold it so that our point sticks out. Okay, just like that. Now, like I said, you can kind of make it go out that way a little bit. You can bring it back a little bit. It doesn't matter. You just don't want to fold it right to the center. And then we're going to do the other side the same way. I kind of flip it around because it's easier for me to hold to do that. And we're going to make that side look just the same. Okay, so now it looks like this. Okay, now, and see if, normally I do distress around the outside of the back of my paper. So all of the white I would have distressed so that it doesn't show up so white. I usually do that before I even start, and I forgot to do that. So now you look like this. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to take this little point right here, We're going to flip it over. We're going to take that point. We're going to fold it at approximately this wing portion. See, there's the wing here and here. Approximately there, we're going to pull it up to the top so that it's sticking out a little bit. Now, if you want your butterfly to be very 3D, don't fold this flat. Just kind of let it be rounded like that. Take that little point that you brought up over the top and fold it over. And this is why I don't normally use cardstock. I'm going to push that up in the center just a little bit. See, that kind of made it rounded a little there. Okay, I'm only just kind of doing that to hold it so that I can really press on that little, what is going to be our little butterfly's head. There. Okay, so, and now you can kind of round these out and round these out, you know, to make it very, you can bend it a little bit in the center this way. And see, this cardstock is cracking and everything, so cardstock is not the best to use. But, so there we go. Now also, if you want to round, here this one is got pointy wings, and this one I rounded the wings because I kind of like them rounded better. If you want them to be exactly the same, you can just kind of let it go for right this second. Fold those two together and just round them. And after you've done a few of these, it won't give you a heart attack to let it go and fold it this way, because to refold it is so easy. So there we go. So now I'm just going to bring those back out there and pull the little head back up here. And there we go. So now the edges are rounded. You could also bring them down a little bit. You know, you could do, let's do that. You know, you can kind of make it look any which way that you want to. And I know origami is supposed to be like only folded, not glued, not cut, but that's okay because this is our craft and we can do it however we want to. So there we go. And again, we've got that white showing up, so distressing it would have been better. And there. So now we have that butterfly, and it's really quite pretty. Now, if you want it to be flatter, instead of leaving that rounded in the back, you can flatten that out, and you will still have some dimension to it. And you can still kind of like round the wings around and that kind of thing, but it will lay much flatter. And then just put a little bit of, I do, because I can't make it stay the way it is. With paper, it stays a little better. But I just glue the little head. That's the only part that I glue. Little glue right there. And it's not going to stay this way. Even with paper, with the cardstock, it's definitely not going to stay there. So then I just take a little clip. I got these at the Dollar Tree. I think 8 or 10 of them for $1. But if you don't have these, clothespins work just fine. Clothespins are one of my go-to clips, actually. Except that I've lost them in my move, so now I have to find them. But there we go. I'm just going to put that little clip on the head and let that dry. Then you can go through and decorate it up however you would like. But I think those are fun and they're really easy. So we're going to do another one a little bit quicker. And I'm pretty sure I had cut some squares here. Okay, so this square is... This is 3 3/4 by 3 3/4, just about. So, where's my tea here? Tea dye. I want to get just a little color on this white part, just so that if it does kind of show, it's not as noticeable. Normally, I would also do it with a color that maybe blends in a little better. Oh, this one does. This does look nice with this color. And I'm going to go around the front side too. And again, you can do 2 by 2, 2.5 by 2.5. It doesn't matter. It just has to be a square. Okay, so we're going to do this one fairly fast, or, you know, just kind of normal speed. So, corner to corner, line it up nicely, and give it a really good crease. Then open it up and do the other corner to corner. Corner to corner, line it up good. Give it a good crease. We're going to open it up the other way Oops. And we are going to do it so that the inside is on the outside, or the non-showing side is on the outside. Go edge to edge. Give it a good crease. And then turn it halfway and edge to edge going the other way. So now you have an X from corner to corner and a cross from side to side. Okay, then you're going to pop up the center so that the pop-up part is on the side you want to show. We're going to fold those sides in so that we have a triangle. Give that a really good press. Then we're going to turn it so that the point is down. And we're going to start right at that center point and bring it down on an angle. Press it. The other wing, we're only doing the top layer of this triangle. There's still more down here. To the center. Gonna make that about the same as the other side. Press that. Okay. Now we are going to take this bottom point, bring it up to about the level of these wings. The further up you go, if you go past those wings, the more dimension it winds up getting. If you kind of pull that up a little bit tighter, and then fold that over. And there we go. And see with the paper, it is kind of staying. Like I said, for me, I can't get it to stay, but it's also because we pulled it up a little bit tighter, makes the head a little bit bigger. We just made that point a little bit bigger. That gave the butterfly itself some more dimension. It won't lay as flat, being that we pulled that up as far because we folded the papers in these areas. So there we go. There is that butterfly. And I'm going to put a clip on it. Just like that. And give that a chance to dry. Alrighty, so that's origami butterflies. Let's do some hand-cut butterflies because they're easier than you think. Or some of you may think they're very easy. So all you need is some paper. And I normally fold it with the colored side in. I don't really know why. One thing that I wanted to say was when you fold it in half and you're getting ready to cut it, so that you cut half of a butterfly like that, do make sure that you cut it on the fold, or otherwise you'll just have two totally separate pieces. So cut on the fold. You want to keep the fold intact. All right, now I start this out with the top of the butterfly and start it out just like you would cut a heart. So we're just going to kind of go up like this, just exactly like doing a heart. And then when you get to about this point, instead of going down at a really big angle, we're just going to kind of we're going to round it in a bit once we get to here. Okay, now that we're there, I'm going to go in a little bit further because our bottom wing we want a little bit smaller than our top wing. So we're going to go to there, and then we're just going to turn it and come out here and make this one a little bit smaller. I usually make them a little longer and then come back. Now, this is going to be very, very plain. When you come up towards where to make the bottom wing, you want to come up almost straight across from here, just a little below that. And that gives you a really nice butterfly shape. Now, if you say, well, that's very plain, that's totally fine. Then you can come in here. I usually cut the butterfly itself first. And then what I do is I'll just come in and I'll give it, maybe I want to give it a little bit of a dent or something here on maybe the edge of the wing. So I usually kind of start right at the beginning because I like it to be a smooth cut. But so when I get to here, I'm going to just kind of dent in and out and then come back to this center point. And then for the bottom, maybe I want to Maybe we'll put a little shape to it over here. So I'm going to start this way. And we'll see what it looks like. Maybe give it a little bit of a shape there. And so now this is what it looks like. And you can play with it and play with it. If you get one that you love the shape of, fold it back in half, or you can do it straight out too. Do it straight and trace it onto a piece of cardstock, cut it out, and then you can always trace it again and again and again. Or you can fold it in half and trace it onto a piece of cardstock so that the next time you do one, you'll fold it in half. You'll put this up to the fold, trace around it, and cut it out. So, because sometimes I make some that I just fall in love with, and then I want to go ahead and I want to do that again and again, but when you're doing it freehand, it's hard to get it exactly the same. So there we go, hand cut. Now, just plain old cut. I have this scrapbooking paper. You know, butterflies are kind of hard to come by. Like looking for a butterfly book at the secondhand stores, I haven't found one. I sure as heck would not spend $20 or $30. Now you can come in and cut right along the edge of the butterfly, or you can go ahead and cut it with a little bit of a border around it, which makes it a little easier to cut. I'm going to cut right along the edge, and then I will have this butterfly in my stash, because sometimes I find it easier to have things like this ready to go. You can see what they look like. If you leave your birds or your butterflies or your flowers in a book on a whole page, it's hard to see that flower, you know, individually, or that bird individually, or away from the tree or whatever. Cut them out, and, you know, then you've got them, and you can, you know, test them on your different tags or whatever it is that you have. I'm not going to try and cut out the antenna because that's pretty much impossible, but I will show you how to add antennas to your butterflies after you glue them on your paper, because it's super easy and looks really good. So yeah, so cut them out so that you have them, because on that big piece of paper, I didn't think it looked as pretty as it does right here. And now I could test it on a project versus trying to look at this big piece of paper and go, does that butterfly look good on that tag? You'll never know. Alrighty, so just cut out butterflies. Do hand cut butterflies, origami butterflies. Now we've got, these are what I call teardrop butterflies. Okay, so let's put those up there. And so for the teardrops, it's really easy to do. Again, I fold my paper, but you don't need to cut on the fold. But I want both of my wings to be the same. And then I just cut a teardrop. Start at the point, go up. You can do fat wings, you can do skinny wings, big wings, little wings, whatever you want. But I just go ahead. And normally with the teardrops, I don't put any shape to them, but you can if you want to. So there we go. Now we have our top two wings. Now I'm going to do a teardrop that's just a little bit smaller for our bottom two. And I think I may have made this a little bit too small, but we'll see how it looks. Okay, and I'm cutting a teardrop. And you say, well, I can't cut a perfect teardrop. You don't have to. This side goes up more, this side rounds that way more, that one goes that way straighter. It's okay because they're butterfly wings. They don't have to be an exact teardrop. But the one thing that I do suggest is always put your right sides together when you cut them out, because then when you open them up, they'll be a mirror image. Instead of putting it, if you were to put it color to color, they wouldn't actually be a mirror image of each other. So we're just going to put those two together, put those two together, and we'll just glue them onto a piece of paper. What do I have here that's, just put them on here. Alrighty, so now I like to edge them first. If you forget to edge them, you can, this one I forgot to edge, so I drew around it. Oh, and if you want this wing to not be teardrop shape, again, I do the same as with those. I cut the teardrop first, keep them together, and put a little bit of shape on them. And if you find a different shape or a specific teardrop that you're in love with, make yourself a little pattern. I do make patterns quite often. I don't always use them that often, though, because I find it interesting to cut a new shape and see what it looks like. And I won't say that I don't ever cut shapes that I don't say, yeah, this one's going in the bin. And you can also use them for collage or whatever. Just throw them in your little scrap box. Everyone is not going to be perfect. You might want to try a new shape or something and, excuse me, it just doesn't seem to work out. Or you might try the shape that you always do and it's too skinny or it's too pointy or whatever, and you just really don't like the way it looks. I'm going to put down the bottom ones first. So this one is super easy. Just put the points together. 2 big teardrops, 2 little teardrops, and I usually do throw a little body on the center, which is also super easy. And I really love the effect of this one. This is one of my favorite butterflies to make. I can do the wings in different colors. You know, do the top wings one set of colors and the bottom wings a different set of colors. There's so many things you can do with this one. So there we go. Now we'll put a little body on it. What did I do with the paper? Ah, here it is. Okay, so for a body, all I do is just cut a rectangle. A long, skinny rectangle. And then I just kind of start at the bottom to make a point. Round it up and around. And then go back, right back down to make a point. And now that's kind of like, that one really goes like that, and this one kind of goes straight. Honestly, that would be okay, because it's just a body. It, you know, could be different. Put a little bit of edging on this one. And glue it on. And give them some antennas. This is where I'm going to show you how to draw antennas. So easy. And you can't be picky. You got to just go with it. So there's our body. And for the antennas, here's my pencil. So this is how you're going to do an antenna. Start just above the head, not touching the head, leaving a little tiny bit of a space, and quickly swoosh. Now, you might want to do it with a marker or something, and then the other side, start just above the head. They're going to look different because this one swooshed this way. This one I'm going to have to do this way, so they're not going to look exactly the same. That's really okay because they're not supposed to. Ready? Swoosh. Okay. I think, oh, that one's a little darker. It's not as long. Doesn't matter. You have to just be good with it. And then at the very top, not touching the top of your pencil mark, put just a little tiny dot. And there we go. It makes a great antenna for anything. Now, normally I like my swoosh to be a little better than that. Here's this one. But yeah, don't worry about that because their antennas are not exactly the same either. They're just like we are. You know, we have our differences. So there we go. One of my absolute favorites. And then finally, making butterflies with flower petals. Now this is a pansy. I got one right here. Which is really kind of easy to work with. But, you know, you can do it with any flower petals. take the plastic part off. And so then what I do is I count this as the top wing. And I want them to go up, so I'm going to, they're a little too straight for me. I want them to angle up a little bit, so I'm just going to cut to that circle there. And then put a little dot on one side of the cut. And then just kind of bring them together a little bit. Like that. And then that makes them go up the way that I want them to go up. Oh. It's sticking to my thumbs. There we go. Okay, so there's our top wings. Excuse me. Now I want the bottom wings to be smaller. So I'm going to take, those were a smaller petal than these. See? So I used those for my large wings because I'm going to use this one, just one, for the bottom wings. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here. See how it's got this little point here in the center of the petal? But if it doesn't, and if this was just a rounded petal, I could do the same thing. So I'm just going to come in here, and I'm just going to kind of cut up towards the center. I'm going to flip it over so that I'm cutting with the same motion, which hopefully will give me a better shape. And then just round that off and cut up to the center. So I've just cut off that little triangle piece, which separated that in two. Now it looks like 2 wings instead of 1. And that's going to fit on there just like that. Now this is really bunched up a little bit right here. So I'm going to kind of nick it because I don't want that to be like that. So I want it to flatten out. So I'll put that nick in it so it would flatten out. And I'm going to do the same thing with this one, because it's keeping that petal rounded, but I want that there to glue with. And you can use Fabri-Tac with this to quick grab. You can use hot glue. If you use hot glue with anything that's fabric, be very careful because it will want to soak through. So there we go. Now we have our butterfly shape. And then we can just take some of our plastic blingy stuff. And this does have like a little dent in the center. It's just a piece of plastic which is dented down in, and that's what really gives it its like sparkle or something. I used to think that when people were using this, I thought it was like actually little like diamonds, which you can buy that stuff, but it's very expensive. But that's what I thought they were using, because sometimes on the camera, it looks more like the diamond things. Okay, then I'm going to hold this up here and see how long do I want it. I want the head to stick up just a little bit. I think that's a little too long, so I'm going to take one piece off. And then I'm going to glue this on and use a little piece of wire for an antenna. And again, I would just grab that with a clip to hold the antenna on. There we go. And here's a piece of wire and my wire cutters. I'm going to take this wire, I'm going to fold it in half. I do kind of want it to be pretty skinny at the bottom, so I really am going to try and pinch that just a little bit. Then I'm just going to take this and kind of round it like that. Hold it. Take this one and round it like this. Now you can leave it just like that if you want, or if you want, you can put a little ring or loop at the ends. Like that, and I can't see. there we go. Oh, I don't like the bend. I put a bend in it. They don't need to be perfect, but I don't like a sharp bend. I'm going to just kind of, there we go. There, that's better. Okay, you fiddle with it until you get it how you want it. And then we're going to put it on the back like this. But you know, that's just a very thin piece of wire. And so you want to make sure that your little antennas will come to the front. It's okay if they dry in the back a little bit, and then you can bend them forward, but you just want to make sure that they will reach. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little piece of this one. You could do anything, a piece of paper, another piece of fabric, whatever. I'm just going to take this and I'm going to glue it on the back to hold those in place. And put some glue on here. Put some glue under the antennas and between the little loopy part so that this will push down in between that loopy part, and once it dries to the petals in the front, they will not be able to pull out. So make sure that I push that down in the V of the antenna. You want it to push down to the fabric that's underneath there, and then that will make it definitely not let those come out. And then I'm going to steal this clip. Let me see if I can flip it over before I clip it. Oh, I have too much glue on my hands. But there we go. There is our flower petal butterfly. So there are just so many different cool ways that you can do this. Let me put them all out here. And so I hope that this gives you some ideas to make your own butterflies, because they are hard to come by. And I know that we all like to use them in our projects. And they seem, I can't get rid of the glue. They seem like a hard thing to do. But really there are a lot of different ways to do them that you can do easily. I mean, you know, I used to think there was no way I could cut out a butterfly till somebody showed me fold it in half, so that, you know, because that was part of my biggest problem, was that I'd cut one side, then I'd cut the other, then I'd cut the first side, then I'd cut the other, because I just couldn't get it right. And I'm gonna make room for these last two here. And they really are just such, there are a lot of simple ways to get butterflies for your projects that are really quite effective. I mean, I think that these are all very beautiful. Again, this is my favorite, always has been. I really love the flowers too, but this is just my favorite. So thank you very much for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. I hope that you have fun making some butterflies for yourself, and I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.